Hey guys, welcome in. Another edition, Rob Kendall Show. Don't forget the website, robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com. Of course, we've got the live stream there, all the podcasting platforms, and we're pretty proud of these. We've got articles there each day posted around our favorite transcripts, from our favorite segments each day, robkendallshow.com. Oh, yeah, and of course, we've got the support button up there at robkendallshow.com. If you want to show your support of what we're doing here, $1, $10, whatever it might be, we are grateful for all of it. robkendallshow.com. Thanks to Darren, who yesterday hit the button there, robkendallshow.com. All right, so there was a fascinating event last night in Carmel, and it basically turned into a Democrat Party campaign rally, for lack of a better term. And I want to talk about it. And it's just another example of the Democrats being totally out of touch with where regular people are. And this is why the Democrats in Indiana, let's face it, in many cases across the country, snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Look, the Republicans are awful at governing. The Republicans in Indiana and across the nation, but in Indiana, have done a horrible job. What part of our state do you look at and say, hey, those Republicans, they're really on it? If you're being honest with yourself, nothing. Our property taxes, which we'll get into here in a little bit, are a dumpster fire. Our utility bills, totally out of control. Our road funding, it's a debacle. Roads, period, are a debacle. The funding and the roads themselves are a disaster. Look at our primary driver, our primary tool to attract development, economic development to our state. It is a corporation, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, so corrupt and unethical, the governor had to spend $800,000 to audit it last year. I mean, hasn't really made any changes from that $800,000 audit, which, by the way, that $800,000 audit confirmed what Indy Star and other news outlets had reported about the level of corruption, about the level of underhanded behavior from the IEDC, unethical behavior. Medicaid system, hundreds of millions of dollars underwater. My point in all of this is there's nothing Indiana Republicans are doing that the average person goes, damn, I can't wait to vote for those people. Like, think about your rank and file House member, Senate member. Are there any of them where every time they're up, people go, can't wait to vote for that person? If you're being honest with yourself, the answer is no. Yet Republicans keep winning because Democrats refuse to be a viable option. And when we talk about Democrats refusing to be a viable option, I'm talking about taking issues where the mainstream society is. First of all, they dig in on issues a lot of times that the average person doesn't care about it, and they make it the cause du jour in an extreme fashion that doesn't resonate with mainstream society. I'm talking about things like the trans issue. Look, the average person says if you're an adult, you do whatever you want to do. If you're an adult, cut, grow, whatever. You're a grown person. You make your own choice. Don't shove it down my throat. Don't make me consume it. Don't make me cheerlead for it, but you do whatever you want to do. However, when it comes to kids, society says, you're a minor. You're a child. You don't know who you want to date. You don't know what you want for lunch. You don't know what you want to be. You certainly aren't capable of making that sort of decision. And yet, the Democrats throw that in people's faces. Look at us. Look at us. Look at us. Society says, we don't want to look at you. Just live your life the same way I don't want you looking at me. Democrats alienate people on the trans issue. And I think the Democrat analysis of the 2024 election played that out. I think their own analysis has played that out, that they were too extreme on the social stuff. They were too extreme, and their views are outside of the mainstream. And if you've looked at the talking points from the Democrat Party post-2024, at least from the party apparatus itself, it has been trying to get away from that. Abortion's the same thing. A lot of the American public is open to abortion with restrictions. We are a pro-life nation. Most people probably aren't as pro-life as I am. But they're also not for on-demand abortion, which sort of became a talking point of the Democrat Party in 2024 and obviously previous years. And if you look at the analysis that was done by various groups about the 2024 election, that's another issue where they said it wasn't an issue that was driving Americans to the polls. And the Democrat, Kamala Harris, the Democrat Party, took a position that was outside of the mainstream. It was outside of the mainstream. So my point on this is the Democrats keep making themselves unelectable. The American public, people of Indiana, not happy with Republican rule. They're not happy with Republican governance. They're not happy with the spending. They're not happy with the crony capitalism. They're not happy with a whole bunch of different issues. Again, there's no level of government in Indiana with Republicans, which they've had for 20 years, where you go, super competent, really well done. And yet the Democrats become so extreme on a lot of the social issues that it causes the public, it causes the voters of Indiana to recoil against them. How many times have we seen it? Boy, I sure don't like that Republican, but I can't vote for a Democrat. Why? Because what issues have the Democrats made front and center? What issues have the Democrats made cause du jour? Issues that, one, aren't the top priority for many people, and then the positions are so extreme that they just say, nope, can't do it. And so people keep voting for bad Republican governance. Fast forward to last night, and the Indy Star had a big article about this. There was this meeting in Carmel about ICE renting an office in Carmel, like an administrative office in Carmel. And this event last night, which featured the one Democrat on the city council in Carmel, her name is Anita Yoshi. I think that's how it's pronounced, Joshi. I think it's Yoshi. If I'm mispronouncing that, I'm sorry. She's one of the featured speakers. And then at one point, the head of the Hamilton County Democrats was there and speaking. And I want to read you from the Star, and this, by the way, came from the mayor of Carmel herself, on what ICE is actually doing in Carmel. Like, it's not like ICE is raiding Carmel. It's not like ICE is snatching people off the street in Carmel. It's not like ICE has an ICE agent with a mask on in every corner, on street corner in Carmel. By the way, there's nowhere for the ICE people to stand because of all the statues, all the fake people. This is from the mayor of Carmel on what ICE is actually doing there. ICE is leasing a privately owned office that it would use as overflow space for administrative personnel currently working in the ICE office on Woodland Drive in Indianapolis. That's it. A bunch of paper pushers, a bunch of government bureaucrats, not people in charge of apprehending illegal immigrants, not people brandishing weapons, nothing. This meeting last night, this outrage from 200, I'm sure if you lined up their party affiliation, mostly Democrats in Carmel, was over a bunch of bureaucratic paper pushers being in a quiet, obscure, nondescript office. Why does this matter? Because poll after poll shows the one area Donald Trump continues to succeed. He's doing horribly on the economy. He's doing horribly on inflation. He's doing horribly on affordability. He's doing horribly as it relates to foreign policy. But the one area, despite Trump's unpopularity, that he does well, that he's always over 50%, handling of the border and immigration. Why? Because Donald Trump was elected in part because people said immigration has gotten out of control in this country. We have tens of millions of people here illegally, 30 million plus perhaps, maybe as much as a tenth of the country. Don't know what the exact number is. There was a flood of people illegally entering the country under Joe Biden. He had a do drop in policy. He was literally telling kids when you're apprehended what to say on the phone so that you can stay here. He literally did that in a press conference. And people said enough. They said, we want to be a welcoming country. I once heard it described, and it was perfect, and I've used this for 15 plus years now. A very big wall with a very wide gate. where we want to welcome people that want to assimilate into this country and contribute and adapt and respect the customs and traditions of America, provide for themselves. What we don't want to be is a country where we have no idea who's coming in, that we reward illegal bad behavior. And not only do we need to secure our border, we need to get people out of this country who have broke the law, especially violent offenders. That's what ICE is doing. That's their job. And that job, the collective, has poll after poll remained popular with the American public, despite Donald Trump being an unpopular president. The Democrats, which, again, this is what this basically turned into, and I want to read you this quote from this Democrat city council member. They're taking an extreme position that does not resonate with the people of America, much less the people of Indiana, a conservative state. And people are going to see this essential Democrat Party rally over ICE having some obscure, nondescript administrative office in a city and how Democrats are responding, and it's going to remind them why they can't vote for the Democrats. All the Republican tax increases, utility bill increases, corruption. And people are going to go, yep, you're right, Rob. But look at what the alternative is. Quote, this is from this Democrat city councilwoman. We are told this ICE office is administrative, and for some, that's it. The decision is made, and that's the end of it. I'm here to tell you this is not how democracy works. This is not how community works. The average person reads that, and I can't even begin to describe to you the level of ridiculous it sounds to them and the level of recoil they have at any thought of even voting for Democrat. Do you know why scumbags like Diego Morales win elections? Because the Democrats provide no viable alternative. And then when they actually have somebody who might be able to win, the rest of the party is so extreme that somebody like Bo Bai can't break through. Because he might be a pretty moderate guy. I think he probably is. Sort of like his old man was. And he's going to raise a bunch of money. And he's going to be on TV. And he's going to point at probably all the sins of Diego Morales if Diego Morales is the nominee. And everybody's going to know about that. And they're going to be pissed off at who Diego is and all the crap he's pulled. And by the way, we probably haven't scratched the surface on the crap Diego Morales has pulled. But you know what's going to happen? People are going to go, We can't deal with the alternative. Now, Greg Ballard, if he gets on the ballot, if he gets the signatures, he may provide some level of alternative, some safe haven for people who can't vote for the Democrat. We have a right to know who's in this country. It's not an extreme position. We have a right to have a border policy that says you can't just illegally walk into this country. It's not an extreme position. And if we're going to have non-extreme positions like countries matter and borders matter, and we have a right to police who comes in and out of the country, we also have a right to kick people out of the country who are here illegally. None of these positions are extreme. And yet the Democrats, and these are, by the way, positions that resonate with the American people collectively across the country and certainly here in Indiana, in a red state. And yet the Democrats needlessly and in an insane fashion take this extreme position where we're not even debating ICE officers. We're debating government paper pushers. Is there any other agency of government, let's just say it was the education department. I just picked a random one. Or, you know, if the education department said, hey, we're renting an office in Carmel, would there be 200 people at some sort of essentially Democrat campaign event shouting at the sky? No. Pick any. Pick any. The Social Security Administration. Any of them. No. But yet, because it's ICE, which is a vital function of this society, these people are here losing their minds. It gets even worse. Let me read you how the Star wrote this up so people don't think I'm making this up. Yoshi, and again, if I'm pronouncing her name wrong, I'm sorry, Joshi, spoke during a town hall meeting, March 30th, to a church packed with about 200 community members. Listen to this. Attendees discussed plans to boycott businesses and pressure elected officials until it's clear they don't want ICE in Carmel. You're going to boycott local merchants who have nothing to do with any of this? People who have set up their lives in your city, who contribute to your city, who give to the Little League teams or the softball clubs or the Boy Scouts. People who are doing nothing wrong, and your great plan over something they have nothing to do with is, we'll boycott them. That'll show them. The average person completely recoils at that. And they say, no, I can't do this. I may not like the Republicans, but this is a ridiculously extreme position that I don't want any part of. Here's what Josh Lowry, the chair of the Hamilton County Democrat Party, said, who was in attendance. Quote, we need to protest. We need to boycott. We need to make it as public as possible that there's an economic reason for owners of the office space to not want to rent to this agency. So you're going to punish some guy or girl who pays property taxes in your community, who contributes, who's doing nothing illegal, doing nothing unethical. You're going to make that person's life hell for following the law. Again, just beg people not to vote for you. Just beg people. Just say, please don't vote for us. Please don't take us serious. Please don't give us an opportunity. So, of course, as always, there's like high school kids at this thing who have no perspective whatsoever, who have no life experience whatsoever. Some idiot 16-year-old was there who was one of these people who organized her classmates to walk out over ICE at Carmel High School earlier this year. Listen to what she had to say. Undocumented immigrants are not animals. Who's being treated like an animal? And by the way, illegal immigrants aren't being treated any differently under Trump than they were Obama and they were Biden. The only difference is we're getting them out of the country now. We're finding them. But the ones that get apprehended, they're illegal immigrants. They don't have any rights. They broke the law coming to this country. They're taking resources that belong to American taxpayers. They're not American citizens. You have the right to detain someone who's breaking the law, who's an illegal immigrant in this country. But in this little person's mind, because no life experience. And by the way, the question for every person who was at this event in Carmel last night, how many illegal immigrants are you housing? How many are you feeding? How many are you taking care of? And that should be the question for every Democrat politician, too. You want them here? How many are you financially responsible for? They want everybody else to be responsible for it. I'd ask this high school girl, how many are you responsible for? Regardless of their status, they should not be left in a cell in critical condition with no medical care or stable environment. Oh my gosh, I almost said it. No, I almost said the big one, which I could hear, but we have a very high standard. In this person's mind, put them up at the Holiday Inn. Room service. 4 or 5 course meal. They should be able to have fair due process. They're being kicked out of the country. They go in front of judges. This is part of the problem. We give these people who are illegal, who are breaking the law, too much process. But this kid has no idea. This person has no idea how this works. It's just like the person we talked about yesterday, the quote that was in the Capital Chronicle article, the No Kings protest, where they profess to be some sort of independent thinker. And then it just becomes abundantly clear they just hate Trump. They should be able to have a standard phone call and be exposed to basic human decency. What does that look like for you? If you ask them that, they have no concept. They can't answer it. But yet this person has a voice. They can't vote. They're not an adult, but they have a voice. Why? Why does this person have a voice? Why is anyone taking them remotely serious? And yet they're a power player at that thing last night. There's somebody of influence, some 16-year-old kid with zero life experience. And to the Democrat Party, throw him up there. You tell him, Sally. You tell him, Billy. Hey, by the way, did you get your biology homework done? No? Oh, well, I was screaming about the conditions of illegal immigrants who get apprehended for breaking the law. And they probably would get a free pass. Excused absence. She was screaming about something she knows nothing about. Let her go. Let her go. The Democrats just, God, they are so disappointing. Because I'd like the Republican crap to stop. I'd like my finances to stop being abused. I'd like my taxes to stop being raised. I'd like my utility bills to stop being totally out of control. But Democrats cannot help themselves. All right, guys, are you planning a trip this summer? Are you thinking about, man, I got to get out of here? If you are, use a professional. Look, most of you guys know that I hate to leave my house. We joke a lot about my fear of flying, but a major reason I just don't leave the greater Brownsburg area other than to come here to do this show is trip planning just has always seemed overwhelming to me. I struggle to even get started. Not anymore, because I met Adam Baltus of Baltus Travel Service. Adam is a one-stop shop for adventures anywhere in the world. He handles it all. Hotels, car rentals, flights, you name it. You can plan your next trip totally stress-free. And in the great case about using Adam Baltus of Baltus Travel Service, using him is not going to cost you an extra dime. Trip's going to cost the same. He will take all the worry out of your trip planning, and it's going to be the same price. Adam is certified through most major cruise lines as well as Disney and Universal theme parks. Get started today. You got nothing to lose. BaltusTravel.com, BALTUS travel.com, or call 812-593-7561. 812-593-7561. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, there was a big endorsement in an Indiana congressional race, a very tightly contested congressional race that I think is fascinating. We'll talk about it when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Are you a Clay County resident who is ready to be part of creating a brighter future for our citizens? Doug Cobb is running for county commissioner and will bring fresh perspective to the table. A local farm and business owner, he has skin in the game of our county's success. He knows that a great team can accomplish so much more than any one of us alone and is ready to create a brighter future for Clay County together. The committee to elect Doug Cobb approves this ad. Paid for by Linda Cheatham.
Welcome back, Rob Kendall Show. Don't forget, if you want to play along on Twitter, at Rob M. Kendall, that's the Twitter handle. And look, guys, I think we're going to do a couple of different live shows. We talked about this yesterday. We got great response from you guys. We'll get those things in the works. People Southwest Indiana said, hey, come down here and do it. Central Indiana, great response. So you guys better not let me down. We took the poll on Facebook. We took the poll on the show. And I think we're going to do some live shows coming up this summer that you guys will really enjoy. We'll have details coming up on that here in a little bit. A little bit like not today, but, in the coming weeks as we get all that put together. We want to thank everybody that's part of the community. Don't forget, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. That is very helpful. In order to comment on the YouTube page, we have a very open YouTube comment policy. Just behave like a member of decent society. You can disagree. You can agree. We got a little family over there. If you want to be a part of the big family, head over to the show, which you're watching right now. Hit the subscribe button. You can get in that YouTube chat and comment. Hit the little thumbs up if you haven't. That is a huge help for us to let people know you like the feed. And share this show. Share this show. Let people know you are enjoying the Rob Kendall Show. Whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on demand, let people know about us as we continue to try to grow. All right, so this was very interesting to me. Todd Rokita, the Attorney General, has come out and made a big endorsement in probably the most watched congressional primary this year in the state of Indiana. And that is the 4th Congressional District. The incumbent is Jim Baird, who is 80 years old. 80 years old. And he is being challenged by Craig Haggard. Craig Haggard is a state rep from the Mooresville area. And this is, and then there's a third guy by the name of John Piper, who is also running in the race. I believe John is a vet by trade. So you've got 3 people running. The 2 thus far who have gotten a lot of the media attention are Craig Haggard, and naturally because they have, the bully pulpit. They're elected officials. They can do all sorts of things. They can get themselves media attention. But so Craig Haggard is running against Jim Baird. Jim Baird has been the incumbent representative since 2018. He has accomplished nothing in the 8 years he's been there. We've talked about the disgusting way in which Jim Baird uses your resources, your taxpayer money, to campaign legally for himself through this Frank mail, where he sends this stuff out all the time that is campaign literature, campaign propaganda, but he's able to legally do it because he doesn't tell you to vote for him. And he has accomplished, before his time in Congress, he was a member of the Indiana House. Before his time in the U.S. House, he was a member of the Indiana House. He accomplished the same amount there he has in the U.S. House, next to nothing. Jim Baird is a great example. If you stay around long enough, if you smooch enough butt, I think he was a county commissioner before that, just a professional elevator, and you can just keep elevating up the ladder. And at 80 years old, he feels no compelling reason whatsoever to give someone else a chance. I think that's an incredible mindset into these people. There's a famous line in Caddyshack, for those of you who've seen Caddyshack. The Ted Knight plays the sort of the antagonist of the movie, right? He's the bad guy, if you will, Judge Smales. And he's in the locker room, and he hates everyone. He has disdain for everyone. And at one point, there's all these people in the clubhouse who he doesn't like, or the locker room who he doesn't like, and they're playing cards and doing all sorts of stuff, and he's mad they're there, and he just looks at him and he goes, "Don't you people have homes?" That would be my question for Jim Baird. At 80 years old, you have been in public office for decades. Don't you have a home? Don't you have somewhere to go to give someone else a chance? Like, can't you just say at 80 years old, I've milked the system long enough. I've done enough damage. I've siphoned enough out of the taxpayers. I'm just going to go live out my remaining days and go have a home and be a grandpa and a father. And I mean, we all know what the plan is here. The plan is for Jim Baird to milk this thing long enough that his son, Bo Baird, who is a state rep, takes his spot. That's what he's trying to do. Everybody knows it. It's not some secret. That's what's going on here. But anyway, Craig Haggard is challenging Jim Baird. And Craig Haggard is probably really the first sort of high-profile challenger that Jim Baird has had since he has been in Congress. And you guys may remember the name Craig Haggard. Craig Haggard is the state rep whose wife allegedly had the AI porn made of her by employees of Micah Beckwith's office. Now, those allegations have sparked a grand jury investigation. Don't know what the status of that is. The grand jury was allegedly, according to IndyStar and others, looking into not only the AI porn allegation, but also ghost employment. And don't know when, assume at some point we'll get a resolution to that. They'll be announced with that. It could be nothing. It could be something. Don't know. But that's probably where you recognize his name from, is his wife was the woman who allegedly had this AI porn created of her. And Craig Haggard at the time came out with the typical outrage you would expect from a person whose wife allegedly had that done to them. And I want to get answers, and I want to get to the bottom of it. And he's mad about this and mad about that. And then not that long after, he was posing for a photo with Micah Beckwith. Now, imagine if you really thought that had happened, which Craig Haggard espoused that he did. He was irate on our radio show. He was irate in newspaper articles. You guys can go read it. I'll take my word for it. Outraged. Seemed pretty convinced it went down. If you look at the quotes, things he said. Would you ever pose with a photo with the guy whose office, who apparently, according to the eyewitness, which is what we assume Mr. Haggard was working on, don't forget, we had the eyewitness, the alleged eyewitness, on our show. She laid out in great detail what happened. Very specific. Named the people. Said those people told her Micah was aware of it. Doesn't mean it's true. It's her allegation. By the way, she has not been sued by anyone that I'm aware of, nor has the journalist who broke the story that I'm aware of. I mean, if somebody accused you of doing that and you didn't do it, wouldn't you sue the hell out of them? Get Abdul. And that eyewitness laid out that not only did those people, she alleged, not only did those people say that Micah was aware of it, she told the chief of staff, who is incredibly tight with Micah Beckwith, and nothing was done about it. Now, if you believe that had happened to your wife, as Craig Haggard professed that he did, appeared to allude to that he was inclined to believe it, would you be posing for a photo with that guy whose office it was happening in, that the eyewitness said was told knew about it? The answer is hell no. Unless you just really want to be a politician and you believe it's politically beneficial for you to pose for a photo with that person. Remember what we've told you about these guys. They're all full of it. And it is not the word I want to say, but it is the word that rhymes with the word I want to say, and it was the word I will say on the own very, very high standards, my own very high standards I've applied to this show. The office is the most important thing to these people, all of them. By the way, Craig Haggard, another thing about Craig Haggard, came on our radio show when the idea of redistricting was first put out there by the governor and by the president. You know what he said? Our maps are great. Our maps are very fair. Greg Sturwald, the guy who led the charge on those maps, he did an awesome job. Pointed out, Indiana is one of the few states that didn't even get legally challenged. That's how great the maps were. And then Charlie Kirk, when he was still with us, well, he put out a very direct challenge to any lawmaker not getting on board with the map drawing. And you know what Craig Haggard did? He crawled under a desk and cowered and said, well, I've changed my mind. We need to redistrict. Because, again, another example of someone like Craig Haggard telling you the office is the most important thing. The power, the elevation is the most important thing. That's your high-profile choices. Now, hopefully John Piper, the third guy running, maybe he'll resonate with people. Maybe he'll get out there. Maybe he'll get his word out there. Maybe he'll give people a viable third choice. But your two known quantities are telling you, based on their actions, they're not going to be fighters for you. They're not going to stand up for you. Jim Baird obviously has a track record of doing nothing other than whatever the party tells him to do. A total yes man, both in the Indiana General Assembly and in the U.S. Congress. And Craig Haggard posing for photos with dudes who are alleged to have known and done nothing about AI porn of his wife. Came on my radio show, said, those maps are great. Those maps are very fair. They don't need to do anything. And then a podcaster threatens him and, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Charlie. We got to redistrict. You're right. Thank you for helping me see the light. You think that guy's going to fight for you in Washington either? So Todd Rokita has weighed in on this. Todd Rokita, of course, the former representative of the 4th Congressional District, Remember, Todd Rokita was the Secretary of State. He then became a member of Congress, 4th Congressional District, this district. Then gave up that seat to run for U.S. Senate, lost, and then became the Attorney General. You notice how these people it's all the same. It's like one office to the next. Again, Judge Smales said it best. Don't you people have homes? Like when I was in elected office, I couldn't wait to get out of it. Like, gosh, this is horrible. This is really draining, and I don't want to do it anymore. These people just crave it. They crave the office or the next office. Here's what Rokita had to say. After serving this seat for years, I know firsthand that the people of Indiana's 4th need a strong conservative fighter. I look forward to voting for Craig Haggard for Congress because I know it's time for a change in this district. Now, let me tell you, read you, and by this comes from the Capitol Chronicle. I had a big article up if you guys want to read it. Speaking of Capitol Chronicle, Nikki Kelly is going to join us next. We all know you guys love Nikki Kelly. I want to read you Baird's response because this tells you everything, and it goes back to and I've got a column coming out about this in the Indy Star later this week. I think it'll be later this week about the dangers of the Trump endorsement and how Trump just endorsing all sorts of people will create bad public policy in Indiana. Let me read you Baird's response. And this is from the Capitol Chronicle. Congressman Baird is proud to have received the complete and total endorsement of President Donald J. Trump. That's the response. Not all the great things that are going on, not all the great things that Baird has done, not all the meaningful legislation, not ways Jim Baird has gotten the national debt under control or gotten inflation under control or pushed back against wasteful, bloated government or made our entitlements more solvent, which, of course, Social Security and Medicare, they're running out of money faster and faster every day. He can't do any of that. He has literally nothing to tell you about his time in office. So his response, well, I've got the endorsement of Trump. Okay. How does that make living more affordable? How does Trump's endorsement get gas prices under control? How does Trump's endorsement lower the price of food or mortgage payments? How does any of that? It doesn't. He can't talk about any of that because it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. Jim Baird was part of the group that voted to print all that money in 2020 and all the disastrous things that happened because of COVID. He's a yes man to the party. His slogan should be vote for the Republican Party. Jim Baird is a vote for the Republican Party. Whatever bad policy they put forward, vote for me. I'll vote for it. Craig Haggard, his slogan should be, I want to be in office so bad, I'll do whatever it takes, including pose for photos with people who allegedly knew about AI porn of my wife. These are your options in the 4th. No wonder our country is so screwed up. No wonder. Someone who is not screwed up, Lauren Wilson. Don't leave your biggest investment to chance with Lauren Wilson, a realtor who is Hoosier through and through, a military veteran and dedicated to a higher standard of service. Lauren is ready to help you start your next chapter. Real estate, buying, selling is about big life changes, and Lauren Wilson gets that. Whether you're upgrading for a growing family or downsizing for retirement, Lauren provides a hands-on experience that takes the stress out of the process. Give Lauren Wilson with @Properties a call for your next move. 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Lauren Wilson with @Properties. Coming up here in a little bit, we kind of talk about what is going on with Speedway because this could potentially be very, very bad for the people of Speedway. We will talk about that in a little bit. But first, the great Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle. Biggest political news, government news, and stories of the week. We will talk about that with her when we come back. You are watching Rob Kendall Show.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, a realtor with @Properties. Born and raised right here in Central Indiana and a Hoosier through and through. Selling your home is a massive undertaking, and I completely understand what that is. That's why when you work with me, we put a great plan together to make sure that when your home comes to the market, it is in the best light possible. Again, I'm Lauren Wilson, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Let's put a plan together and get your home sold.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Are you a Clay County resident who is ready to be part of creating a brighter future for our citizens? Doug Cobb is running for county commissioner and will bring fresh perspective to the table. A local farm and business owner, he has skin in the game of our county's success. He knows that a great team can accomplish so much more than any one of us alone and is ready to create a brighter future for Clay County together. The committee to elect Doug Cobb approves this ad. Paid for by Linda Cheatham.
It is the Rob Kendall Show, speaking once again with one of the best reporters in the business. Nobody covers news and government and politics like the Indiana Capitol Chronicle, the great Nikki Kelly. Hello.
Hello.
Is that your mansion behind you? We've never actually got a glimpse
My
into
mansion?
your Boone County mansion.
Well, I wish I lived in a mansion, but it is my lovely Boone County home.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, I thought there were some interesting articles this week, and let's start with the article you guys had about population in Indiana, how it is growing,
Yep.
but it seems to all be growing in a very targeted area.
Yeah, I mean, central Indiana is the place where the growth is occurring, which, I mean, I think we'll take it over it not growing anywhere, right? And our growth rate is faster than Kentucky and Ohio and Michigan and Illinois. So those are good things. But I think everyone sort of knows that we also need to figure out how to get other areas in the state to grow as well, aside from sort of central Indiana, and like Allen County was up there too.
Yeah, we had the mayor of Terre Haute on yesterday, and he was saying the same thing, which is this economic growth, development, numbers of people, it all seems very targeted at the center part of our state. Does Braun, do they have a plan for everywhere, not in the sort of 9 or 10 targeted counties?
Yeah, I mean, that remains to be seen. I know lawmakers have become a little frustrated with smaller communities, and of course, who don't want to grow, they turn down any, not even just, I don't even mean like the big data centers or big things. I mean, they turn down sort of basic growth because they like the charm they have. But also, then you don't have a reason for people to move there. They need jobs there to move there. And so I think that's going to be something we have to figure out in the next couple of years.
Yeah, there was some staggering data in that like 16 or something counties have lost population since it was the year 2000 maybe. I mean, that's pretty hard to believe.
Yeah, it was over 2000 to 2025, and there are a lot of the very small rural and mid-sized counties that you would think of.
Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle is our guest. Okay, so you guys also had a very interesting article about data centers. There was supposed to be legislation that said, hey, the data centers have got to give a pretty good size of loot back to local governments where they go, and how that got really watered down.
Yeah, throughout this session, in a couple different bills, there was movement to require data centers to give sort of some of the money they're saving on their sales tax bill for electricity to local governments, just sort of incentivize. And it did pass in House Bill 1210, but when we looked really close at the wording in typical like fashion of legislative writing, it seems kind of similar to the 1%, and it would be millions until you really look at the very detailed way it was written. Technically, it could be $0, because it says, up to 1% of their savings. And also, it doesn't count. The original plan was 1% of their electric bill, which was a lot larger than 1% of their savings. They also took out any inventory or equipment that was going to be part of that as well. Basically, I think Republicans just realized in the last couple days, and data centers talked to them about this, that it was going to be a pretty big hit for companies.
You guys, I think it was Ed Soliday, who's the head of the utilities in the House. He was like, "Well, it just seemed kind of big, and so we decided it should not be that big." And it just seems like very nobody has any idea what to do with data centers. Am I wrong on this? Is there like just no? There's no consensus whatsoever.
I'm sorry, say that again.
It just seems like there's no consensus on these data centers whatsoever.
Yeah, I think people are very much caught between understanding that their constituents don't want them, but also being aware that Indiana does need to grow. And some of that might be some data centers. And, so I think they're trying to figure out how to deal with that.
Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle is our guest. The No Kings protests were on Saturday. You had a reporter out there. She interviewed several people, and I thought that we talked about some of their comments today. Okay, so my question to you is this like just an echo chamber, or are they getting more people to come? Like how does this thing shape out in terms of the attendees?
Yeah, I went out there too and talked to some people and hung out for about an hour. And so, look, some of the people are the same people who've come the other times, but yet then you'll find someone who's never come to one. I think our reporter talked to someone who hadn't been to a protest since the '60s. So I think probably there is a core group of people, but you also got to remember that's just the Indianapolis one. There were 60 other of these, and so I can't imagine that there aren't some people coming out that, previously wouldn't have done that or haven't.
How do Democrats in Indiana, who are obviously in the deep in the wilderness in terms of power, how do they capitalize on these people? Because the middle ground isn't probably mostly what shows up to these things. So how do you keep these sort of, we'll be nice and call them more passionate people happy, yet stake out a middle ground that can win you a Zionsville or a Carmel or a Fishers?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of Democrats talking to us about how they feel like the Democrats are not standing up enough against these kind of moves by the Trump administration that they were out there against, whether it be ICE, whether it be the war in Iran, whether it be deportations. I mean, there are a lot of different topics that people had, although the Iran war was a really big one this time, obviously new, and there was a lot on the Epstein list on signs and chants and things like that.
Well, and it was you or your reporter interviewed some guy, and he was like all over Trump and the Epstein list. And we talked about it today. We said, okay, fair to say that Trump knew Epstein, no doubt about it. And he should have been more candid about it. But like Evan Bayh's in the Epstein files, I think, for crying out loud. Nobody thinks Evan Bayh was doing anything nefarious. Everybody's in the Epstein files.
There are a lot of people in the Epstein files. Obviously, that doesn't make them all equal.
You're right. Okay, so each week you, in addition to your fabulous reporting, you write sort of an opinion piece. I think your writing is very interesting. Tell us about your column this week, because I thought you hit on some interesting stuff.
Yeah, this week I just looked at the issue of nonprofits becoming more involved in politics. And we've seen it here in Indiana for a few cycles now, but this year the Hoosier Leadership for America is definitely doing a lot of this for Senate candidates. And so my point is just look, the point of having campaign finance laws is transparency, right? You can see who's giving to someone, who they're going to quote, owe favors to, that kind of thing. And now we've got this, I can get two mailers, in my mailbox. One of them I can know I can go on, I can see exactly who's giving them their money, who's financing them. The next one is from a nonprofit. I don't get to know anything about where their money is coming from. And I just don't think that's right. I think it undermines the system of transparency that we want in campaign law.
Yeah, and I thought your column was really good because you said the obvious, and you and I have talked about this before. These are campaign ads, right? They're not saying vote for or against someone, but the wording they're using, I think Liz Brown was one of the people you picked out a mailer against her. And it's like, that is the language they're using, the way they're describing the people. These are campaign ads, and they're able to legally, they're able to operate different than everybody else.
I mean, theoretically, it's legal, though. If you look at the plain wording on the IRS website, it says that if there's any bias for or against one candidate, that it's not allowed. So, I mean, I mean, that's my point is we've lit this snowball and, the IRS isn't really looking at that. And again, if you want to question someone's vote or their old gas tax vote or how they handled immigration, fine. That stuff is absolutely fair game. But let us know who is financing these attacks so that we all know kind of what weight to give it.
Yeah, I mean, I heard one the other day where the ad was, and Donald Trump, it was Greg Walker, and Donald Trump called him a loser. And it's like, well, what does it have to do with Greg Walker's voting record? It is clearly a campaign ad.
Yeah, yeah. And I just think we've kind of snowballed past what the original intent of allowing nonprofits to get involved. It was voter education. And they still are claiming, well, we're educating them on someone's voting record. But, if it's obviously going to impact and tilt a race, then I think that's a big deal.
Tell us about the fabulous Indiana Capitol Chronicle and anything you want people to know about it.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, follow us at indianacapitalchronicle.com or sign up, subscribe to our morning newsletter or the weekend newsletter if you just want to get it once a week instead of 5. And we're getting ready we've been working on elections. We'll put our voter guide up next week.
It is one of the best in the business. We'd be totally lost to not have a show without them. They are the Indiana Capitol Chronicle. Nikki Kelly runs the show over there. Thank you, Nikki Kelly.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Are you a Clay County resident who is ready to be part of creating a brighter future for our citizens? Doug Cobb is running for county commissioner and will bring fresh perspective to the table. A local farm and business owner, he has skin in the game of our county's success. He knows that a great team can accomplish so much more than any one of us alone and is ready to create a brighter future for Clay County together. The committee to elect Doug Cobb approves this ad. Paid for by Linda Cheesem.
Your bathroom fan could be secretly costing you thousands of dollars in damages. Most people don't even know this until the damage is done. With over 18 years of bathroom remodeling experience, here are 3 signs your fan is failing you without spending a dime on inspections. Sign number 1 is if you have foggy mirrors after you shower. This shows that your fan isn't pulling out enough moisture, which creates the perfect environment for mold. If you have a properly functioning bathroom fan that is the right size for your space, you shouldn't see much fogginess on your bathroom mirror at all. Sign number 2 is if you have bubbling, cracking, or peeling paint in your bathroom. This means moisture is soaking into your walls, slowly breaking down drywall, and even causing the wood framing behind it to rot. Sign number 3 is if you have mold buildup on your fan, ceilings, or walls. This is terrible for your health, but also could wreck your bathroom, costing you a fortune. If you're noticing any of these signs, here's what you can do.
Call Vent Savvy today at 317-300-4434. That's 317-300-4434 and mention Rob for a free attic inspection.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. We got to tell you about what's going on with Speedway. This is fascinating to me, and we'll get into that in just a second. Before we do, let me tell you about our friend Gary Tedrow, lender extraordinaire. Already talking with a lender? It never hurts to get a second opinion. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage works with home buyers and homeowners throughout central Indiana, helping them purchase homes, investment properties, refinance, and consolidate debt through their mortgage when it makes sense. Gary believes the right mortgage strategy can make a big difference over time. Do you have questions? Not sure where to start? That's where Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage comes in. Visit loansbygary.homes, loansbygary.homes. You got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment, so call for a free no obligation quote. 317-695-5179, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207, with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender. Okay, so let's talk about Speedway for a second. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to be curious what you guys think about this, because there's some validity to what they're trying to do, but I think they're making a big mistake. How about that for a tease, right? And by the way, just a reminder, if you haven't, hit the subscribe button. We're growing, keeping that number going up every day. We need more people. Hit the subscribe. Look, I'm just being very direct with you guys. We got to keep the show growing. We cannot get stagnant. We got to keep elevating, because we're talking about topics people aren't going to hear anywhere else. You're doing good for your community by promoting the Rob Kendall Show. So hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button. You guys had a great day with a thumbs up yesterday. So far, I don't feel like we got as many thumbs up as we should have so far. Right now, just do it. You want to help me out? I want to do something nice for Rob today. Hit that little thumbs up and let people know you're liking the feed. And just hit the share. Hit the share. Help us grow. Let us know that you're a part of the program, and obviously your comments to YouTube. Jason will read those later. Brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. All right, so let's talk about what's going on with Speedway. Many of you, if you've been through Speedway, most of you know, most of you are Indiana people that are watching, but if you're not, obviously Speedway is the home of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The largest single-day sporting event in the world, a staple of Indiana, probably the thing most associated with the state of Indiana. Like if you ask somebody not from Indiana, what's the first thing you think of when you think of the state of Indiana? They'll say the Indy 500, right? Obviously a huge tourist attraction, economic development, all of that stuff. And it is housed in an actual municipality appropriately called Speedway, Indiana, because it's the home of the Speedway. And over the past, look, Jason and I, Jason, I'll talk about this later. Jason and I, years and years ago, we had an office in Speedway. Remember that? Remember that office in Speedway? It was an old school building, and the old building, right? It was a school, wasn't it, at one point? It was an office building? I don't know. Anyway, it was an old building. We'll talk about this later with producer Jason. And for years, Speedway just kind of is like this little village. It was not a dump. I mean, it had character to it. But it just came to life for, 2 or 3 weeks out of the year, and then it just went back to this sleepy little village. And over the past decade and a half, Speedway has made a lot of investments, and they've really tried to up their game, become a place that people want to go to on the regular. They got Allison's there, et cetera. And one of the parts of the growth of Speedway, going back really a decade, was there was this plan to put a large hotel, right next to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. State-of-the-art, really nice hotel, and it has failed. It has failed on multiple occasions, and now the government is trying to swoop in and save this project. And WTHR has an article about this, as do numerous other outlets. So last night, the Speedway Town Council, they are governed by a town council. They don't have a mayor. They have a 5-person governing body and a town manager. By the way, I know the Speedway town manager. I hired him to be the Brownsburg town manager years ago, and he did a fine job as the Brownsburg town manager with the watchful eye of Rob Kendall over him. Helped me accomplish many of the goals that I set out to accomplish. Here's the thing you guys need to know. Like if your community you live in is run by a town, and this is not an indictment of the Speedway town manager, it is an indictment of all town managers. If your community is a town and not a city, you have a de facto mayor, and that is the town manager. Town managers generally, especially in any sort of thriving municipality, are generally professionally accredited. They go to schools. They're taught how to be town managers. And what you need to understand about the town manager, and I've found this time after time after time, and I have a huge issue with this, their default is to protect the entity. And you might say, well, why is that bad? Rob, shouldn't that be what you do? No. The default should be to protect the taxpayer. An entity doesn't breathe. It doesn't live. It doesn't have feelings. It's an idea. And an entity is just a group of taxpayers. But too often I've found with town managers and town councils who will not restrain the town manager because these people go to school to do this. It's what they're trained to do. Their default is always whatever's best for the entity, not whatever's best for the taxpayer. And so oftentimes with towns, because you have town councils, 5 people, there's no de facto or there is no actual mayor. They're kind of involved, but just on the peripheral. Just like with the state house people, they don't read, they don't process, they don't understand, they don't dig into it. They just kind of let the town manager do whatever he or she wants to do. And as long as they stay out of the paper and these people don't do anything offensive enough to get outraged that they don't get reelected, just let them do whatever they want. Good government is hard. You have to read. You have to live it. And for most people in local government, it's just like something else they do. So these town managers, their default is to do whatever's best for the entity. Taxpayer comes in sort of a distant second. And you have to really have a governing body of 5. You have to have 3 of that governing body that will really focus on the taxpayer first. Most towns don't have that because the governing body doesn't know how to do that. And the other thing about the town managers is, and why it doesn't work in terms of protecting the taxpayer, they're always appealing to 3 people. Why? Because the town council is who can hire and fire them. And of a 5-person governing body, you need 3. The town manager's de facto mayor job depends on 3 people. Now, when I was on the town council, I had 2 other people who agreed with me on most things. So what were we doing? We were cutting taxes, we were building roads, and reforming government. So over 4 years, our town manager is now town manager in Speedway. He cut property taxes 18.5%. We didn't raise water and sewer rates. We put heavy money into infrastructure. Why? Because that's what the 3 that depended on him keeping his job demanded that he do. And he did a good job of it. Now, after I left, things started changing. You got water and sewer rate increases the year after I left. You got bizarre downtown economic development deals with, the town being super involved in lease assistance and Little League fields getting torn down and apartments getting built. Like all of these things started happening. Why? And this would happen with any town manager. There was no longer institutional control. The 3 people saying this is what you will do to keep your job. Like I laid out very clearly when I was there, this is what I want to see. He did it. He is now the town manager of Speedway, and he has become a town manager more in line with the job he did after I left than the job I was there before. But my point on all this, you're going to have this with any town government unless you have a hyper-involved town council. So I'm a big proponent of many towns becoming cities, because that way then the de facto mayor becomes an actual accountable mayor. Doesn't mean it's going to be better, but at least it gives you a voice. So bring this all back. The town of Speedway, there was private developers who proposed building a large hotel next to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And this has failed twice. I mean, when I talk about next to the Motor Speedway, it is literally steps away from gate 1 of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And you can see it. You can drive by it right now and see what I'm talking about. So the Speedway Town Council yesterday voted unanimously to approve a resolution, this is according to WTHR, to authorize the Speedway Redevelopment Commission to begin the process of acquiring the property of the unfinished Wilshaw Hotel right there at the corner of 16th and Main. So not once, but twice, the private sector has tried to do this hotel and has failed, and now the government is going to come in and take it over. This started back in 2016. According to WTHR, the first developer tried but lost financing. Then another company was brought in 3 years later, and that company also couldn't secure financing. And so that lot has sat half developed, half empty since 2019. Speedway officials have said that if there's no agreement with the current owners by June, the town could pursue taking over the site using eminent domain. So what the Speedway, let me explain how eminent domain works when we talk about fair market value. Eminent domain is the government taking something over by force. Now, I am so proud that I never had to do eminent domain because private property belongs to the person who owns it. You bought it, you own it, you've done what you want to do with it, it's yours. As long as you're not harming other people, as long as you're keeping your property in nice order in terms of, you're not letting it get overgrown, you're not devaluing property around you, it's your property. And the only time the eminent domain should be used, the only time we ever even got close, is if there is an infrastructure project, infrastructure being a road, a sidewalk, a bridge, water, sewer, that is vital to the existence of the entire community. So you have a road project. You need to do something because there's a danger to the road or a bridge that is falling apart or, sidewalks that are crumbling or some sort of expansion that needs to be done for disability compliance. You got a drinking water issue, lead in the pipes or whatever. I'm just giving broad ideas. And you need part of someone's property you need to acquire someone's property to be able to facilitate that project that benefits everyone. And it's vital to the daily existence of the community or the daily quality of life of the community in terms of living. That would be the only time if you couldn't come to an agreement with a parcel that's privately owned that you would say, okay, I could see where eminent domain would be necessary. Wouldn't want it. Like when they're looking at potentially doing this with the Mid-States Corridor, down in Southwest Indiana, that project is not vital to the existence of the people living there. They already live there quite fine. That's government being an ass. And so when we talk about a hotel, okay, is it an eyesore? Maybe. Is it kind of an embarrassment to the city? Probably. But it's not. Clearly, Speedway is existing just fine. There's not mass casualties or accidents or the populace isn't being poisoned with the water. That's not being laid out. Speedway is saying here to the person who owns the property right now or the company who owns the property right now, they're spending about 6 weeks on an appraisal. And then if you don't do what we want, we're considering taking it from you. Now, let me explain how government purchases property. And by the way, this is why you guys love this show. Nobody else will give you this information like we do. When the government pays, quote unquote, fair market value, it ain't what you say it is. What the government has to do is they have to get 2 appraisals. They have 2 independent appraisers come in. And then what they do is the most they can give you is the highest of the average of the 2 appraisals. They can't even give you the highest appraisal. The highest of the highest average, the average of the 2 appraisals. That's the highest they can give. That's not fair market value. The guy who owns that building, that property, unless there's some ordinance that says you're required to finish this hotel by such and such a time, and if you don't, then we can get it at this. That's just government overreach. And by the way, this town of Speedway banking a lot on some guy, in this case, the town manager, who I don't think has a great track record of major economic development. So you have the heavy-handed of government. Eyesore, probably. Embarrassment for the town, probably. But that ain't why eminent domain should be used. It's that person's property. You don't like it? Bring somebody else in. The private sector clearly can't make it work. What makes you think that government would be able to make it work? Now, the people of Speedway are apparently getting sideways with this because now they're talking about it not even potentially being a hotel. It could be something completely different. Government doesn't do economic development well. You know who does economic development well? Private sector. Why? Because they have to make money at it. If the private sector over 10 years can't find one person to make that hotel work, probably a reason. You know what the reason probably is? Because the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is really a 1-month entity, especially with the decline of the Brickyard. It used to kind of be a 2-month entity when the Brickyard was roaring. I mean, obviously, we've seen the hard times the Brickyard has followed on. And I'm not saying there aren't other races that take place there. Obviously, there are. But it's not sustainable to have a luxury hotel or a high-end hotel, a hotel that can consistently make money. You need a customer base. Speedway, while it has commerce on its main street now, those aren't people that need to stay at hotels for the most part. They're people who live or work around there, which is great. I think it's wonderful that Speedway has developed a thriving main street. I'm going to ask Jason about that building we had when he joins us here in a little bit, because that building was a story in and of itself. But look, the Speedway Town Council needs to really, really think this through, because I think this has dumpster fire written all over it, and I don't think it's something that it warrants eminent domain. But we would welcome anyone from Speedway, town council member, the town manager. I've known him for years, and I told somebody, I have a friend that's on the Speedway Town Council. I told him this today. I said, your town manager has a lot of great qualities. He's done a lot of good things. He can do a lot of good things. I'm not sure this is the area you want to bank on that. We'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong. People are like, well, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about the use of eminent domain? Let us know in the chat. Maybe Jason can get some of those here later. Do you think government should be able to confiscate property for economic development purposes, or should it be purely for infrastructure that benefits the whole town? Or do you believe under no circumstance? Maybe you believe under no circumstance. Should the whole community not get vital infrastructure done? Is it like, hey, it's your property under no circumstance? If you don't want to sell it, the government should never be able to do projects. I'd be fascinated to know what your belief is on eminent domain. In the meantime, though, I want to tell you about the great John and Vince Savvy. Vince Savvy, one of the original sponsors here on the Rob Kendall Show. Here's something most homeowners don't realize. A lot of bathroom exhaust fans were installed wrong from day one. That means shower moisture isn't actually leaving your house. It's getting pushed into your attic or trapped in the ceiling. Over time, that leads to mold, damaged insulation, costly repairs. You should call Vent Savvy. Head over to ventsavvy.com. 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 And just tell him, John, I heard about you on Rob's show. He said he's got a lot of those calls and emails. Heard about you on Rob's show. Here's what's going to happen. John from Vent Savvy, he's going to come out to your house totally free of charge. No obligation. He's going to do an inspection of your attic. And if he doesn't find any mold, any moisture buildup, anything trapped in your attic or ceiling, he's going to tell you, hey, man, you're good to go. You don't need me. Don't need anything. But what a lot of homeowners don't realize is their bathroom exhaust fans were installed wrong from day one. Either they're undersized for the room or they're not vented properly, and that means shower moisture isn't actually leaving your house. It's getting pushed into your attic or trapped in the ceiling. And that, as we said, can lead to mold or damaged insulation or costly repairs. That's where John comes in. He's going to come out, do that free inspection, check out your fan, check it all out, say, here's what you might need. Then you make the choice. You're not under any obligation. You don't get some high-pressured sales pitch. Just a Hoosier helping Hoosiers. Vent Savvy, VENTSAVVY.com. Tell them you heard about him on Rob's show. Get a free inspection, and then you take it from there. Okay. Here is a question for parents out there. Because there's been a couple of big rulings. This actually happened last week. I just haven't had a chance to get to them until today. But if you're a parent out there, I want to get your opinion on what role parents are responsible for their kids. Here's what I'm talking about. This came from The Hill, and this was last week, and I've been meaning to get to it, and I think it's important, so I want to talk to you guys about it. In California, a jury determined that Meta and YouTube were negligent in their design or operation of their platforms and ordered the companies to pay about $6 million to the plaintiffs. The case was brought by a 20-year-old, and it was really a consolidation of thousands of lawsuits brought by individual school districts and states across the country. Lawyers for this 20-year-old said he became addicted to the platforms, prompting or worsening his mental health. This comes a day earlier, where a jury in New Mexico found Meta liable for compromising children's safety online and violating the state's Unfair Practices Act, which prohibits unfair, deceptive, and misleading business ventures across the state. That jury awarded $375 million in damages. So basically, what these attorneys have been saying, and now they're starting to win these lawsuits, is that the business practice of Meta and YouTube, and we love YouTube. Look, I think I'm on YouTube's side on this, and let me get. So don't cut me off, YouTube. We're here for you, YouTube. But play this out with me. Basically, what these juries are saying is that Meta and Facebook have practices that are targeting kids that they know are addictive, and it's causing them to spend more and more time on these applications, which are worsening their mental health. Now, YouTube, don't cut me off. I'm about to get on your side here. Stay with me. In 2025, Common Sense Media found that children ages 8 and younger spend an average of 2.5 hours a day with the screen. By age 2, 40% of children have their own tablet. Okay, that blows my mind. What obligation do parents have to this? My kid does watch a lot of YouTube, but it's hyper monitored by me, and it's educational based programming. Things like Sesame Street, Simple Songs, Miss Rachel, the cartoons that are of no, that we watched as a kid, Garfield, SpongeBob, like other educational based programming, teaching her how to count, how to recognize numbers, colors. And my kid is super smart, and I think a lot of it is, and great lessons, things like we talk about. We love the Veggie Tales, great, Bible stories that are played out through talking vegetables. And my kid has learned a lot, and she's super smart. She can relay a lot of the things. I think she's learned through, and we're there watching it with her the entire time and talking to her about it. Does she probably spend too much time in front of the screen? Maybe. But I control that as a parent because that's my kid. My kid is my property until she turns 18 and leaves my house. And by the way, my kid don't leave my house at 18. She's still my property. My roof, my rules. I have an obligation as a parent to parent my kid. YouTube and Facebook obviously want you to spend as much time as possible on their application, just like we want you to spend as much time as we possibly can watching the Rob Kendall Show, watching State House Happenings, watching the individual interviews that we post up. By the way, if you like our individual interviews, if you didn't know, we do post each interview up as its own thing, so you can just check out the interview if you've heard something interesting. Like yesterday, the mayor of Terre Haute talking about the potential damage that tolling I-70 could do to communities across the state. Under the video section there, you can watch each individual interview if you want to do that. They're a for-profit business. They're a media company. Of course they want you or your kid or your wife or your husband to spend as much time as possible watching them. I feel like with these jury awards, we're abdicating the responsibility that ultimately lies with the parent, which if you don't like your kid watching YouTube, turn it off. I do that every day. Livy, we've watched enough of this. We're going to go outside and play for a little bit. Livy, we watched enough of this. We're going to read a book. She gets mad. But you know what? She gets over it because I'm the boss. It's just like my kid don't like to eat at the table. I make her eat at the table now every day because she needs to learn you eat at a table. I realized at one point, I'm letting my kid eat too much from the couch. Like, we need to eat at the table so he learns how to sit, and she has done that, and she's fine with it now. She didn't like it at first. Like, you as a parent control your kid. This article goes on to say, like, this could be big tech's big tobacco moment because now they think there's going to be all these lawsuits popping up. You know what that's going to do? It's going to screw it up for the rest of us. If you don't want your kid consuming big tech for 2 hours a day, don't let them do it. Take control as the parent. We're bailing bad parenting out if you think it's bad parenting. Quote, this is not about that content, but really about the way these platforms are using these addictive design features to engage kids and teens for longer on the platform, said Holly Groshans, senior counsel for tech policy at the kids safety nonprofit Common Sense Media. Not if the parents don't let them. Not if the parents don't let them on the application. They act like YouTube just turns itself on. By the way, how does a 2-year-old have a tablet? What possible reason could there be for your 2-year-old to have their own tablet? Maybe there's an answer. Maybe somebody will let me know in the YouTube chat. Like, my kid has a tablet at 2 because I don't understand But again, that's on parenting. Your kid is not capable of going to the store and buying the tablet at 2 years old. You're giving that to them. You're saying that's okay. And look, you parent your kid however you want. I'll parent mine however I want. Like, it just blows my mind that these juries are awarding verdicts. Everything's addictive. You think soda isn't addictive? Tobacco is, of course, addictive. All sorts of medications are addictive. They depend on people being addicted to medication. And by the way, I'm not anti-medicine. I'm not any of that. All sorts of things. Like, my kid went to a event at a church, a little carnival thing over the weekend. And you know what? They made her cotton candy, and she'd never had cotton candy before. And she started eating that, and she literally goes, mmm. And you know what I did? After about 3 more bites of that, I said, that's it for you. I said, you've had enough of that. It's bad for you. It's fine to have it as a little snack. You're not eating the whole thing of cotton candy because then you're going to get addicted to it. Anytime I bring a soda into my house, you know what my kid says? She calls it juice. Juice. No, soda, and that's for big people. And if we give her one drink, she gobbles it up. And we got to say, no, that's enough. You had one drink. It's called parenting. Some parents don't want their kids to have any soda. Great, your choice. Like, we just parent your freaking kids. Control what your kids consume. I'm going to be fascinated in the YouTube chat. Am I way off on this? Is YouTube and Meta somehow to blame for this? Or should people be taking control of their own kids, be taking control of their own lives, be doing the actual parenting? One thing I don't want to do around my house. I want to parent. I don't want to make repairs around my house. That's why if I have something big, I'm calling Bramwell Mackay. Leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home. Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay. BRAMWELLMCKAY, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialists. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Jason will have the best YouTube comments of the day, sponsored by our fine friends at Black Sheep Plumbing. Plus, we'll do a Rob Kendall origin story. We're going to tell everybody about the very old, rundown building Jason and I once had an office in Speedway. I'm going to see if I'm misremembering this. I am getting older. We'll see if I still remember it as bad as it actually was. We'll talk about it when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Planning a trip can be overwhelming. You know where you want to go, but how do you make it happen? That's where Baltus Travel Service comes in. Adam Baltus takes the worry out of travel and is with you every step of the way. The great thing about using Baltus Travel Service is in most cases, it won't make your trip cost an extra dime. Adam is certified through most major cruise lines as well as Disney and Universal theme parks. If you've been thinking about going anywhere in the world, take the worry out with Baltus Travel Service. There's no charge for a consultation to find out in advance what your trip will cost. Get started today by visiting baltustravel.com or call 812-593-7561. 812-593-7561.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, a realtor with App Properties. Born and raised right here in Central Indiana and a Hoosier through and through. Selling your home is a massive undertaking, and I completely understand what that is. That's why when you work with me, we put a great plan together to make sure that when your home comes to the market, it is in the best light possible. Again, I'm Lauren Wilson, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Let's put a plan together and get your home sold.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Are you a Clay County resident who is ready to be part of creating a brighter future for our citizens? Doug Cobb is running for county commissioner and will bring fresh perspective to the table. A local farm and business owner, he has skin in the game of our county's success. He knows that a great team can accomplish so much more than any one of us alone and is ready to create a brighter future for Clay County together. The committee to elect Doug Cobb approves this ad. Paid for by Linda Cheatham.
Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks so much for being a part of the Rob Kendall Show. We so appreciate you. Couple of reminders. If you haven't done it, hit that little thumbs up for us. Tell your friends to do it as well. Also, we still need those subscribers. Still very important. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Share the feed. Let people know about us. We're taking on these local government politics and government, the policies, and we need you to help us grow. That's the only way we're going to grow is organically. And if you're feeling super generous today, head over to robkendallshow.com. Hit that support button. Again, I want to thank Darren for supporting us yesterday, hitting that. All you guys who have given so generously. I try to send thank you notes to every one of you. We really appreciate it. The support button at robkendallshow.com. Before we bring producer Jason in, tell you about our friend, our great friend, great supporter of the show, Lauren Wilson. Buying a home is the biggest investment you'll ever make, but it's about so much more than a price tag. It's your next chapter. So work with Lauren Wilson. Her goal is to make sure you feel 100% confident in every decision you make. She's not just there to show you houses. She's there to guide you through the schools, the neighborhoods, the local routes that make Central Indiana special. She's a Central Indiana lifer, military vet, and provides a hands-on, high-touch service when you deal with Lauren Wilson directly. Give Lauren Wilson with At Properties a call for your next move, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. And with that, we welcome in producer Jason to have the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing.
Black Sheep Plumbing, that is correct, Rob. Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing, 765-315-7558. One more time, 765-315-7558. Black Sheep Plumbing.
Okay, so I heard from someone yesterday who has had John out to their house. They heard the ad in Brownsburg. I may read that. I think I will read that testimonial tomorrow.
Oh, you've got testimonial.
Oh, yeah. They said, use this. This is my experience. She said she had a fabulous experience with John. He was delightful. I'll tell you all the details about it tomorrow. We said, man, we try to pick people that we do a little research on these people, and we want to try to recommend people we think we're good about 1,000. I don't know, but
it's a good thing they don't research us. Yeah. And I was looking here frantically through. Would that have been Jan Hatch? Perhaps?
No, I don't know.
We got another one here.
Oh,
Jan Hatch.
No, I don't think it was. Yeah.
Just used Black Sheep Plumbing this morning.
Oh,
Great
no, this was
service.
yesterday.
No, this is today.
No, I'm saying the one from yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, John's a very busy man, apparently. Great service, reasonably priced. Very nice man. Call them.
Yeah, great. Black Sheep Plumbing.
Right on. Okay, awesome. And also, I think Andy Engel from a couple days ago had let's see, where's that?
I know he used Vent Savvy.
He used Vent Savvy, and I didn't get a chance to mention that or get it in the chat, but Andy used Vent Savvy and was very happy.
Hey, real quick, guys, thank you for supporting our advertisers. Thank you for those of you who may not need the service in the moment. Look, I'm sure like John's like, man, I hope people never need my service. Hope your plumbing just works.
I'm sure he says that.
Great.
Yeah, I'd rather just sit at home and know that everybody's okay.
But thanks when you need the service, whether it is, and some things are, more common than others, right? Like Lauren Wilson understands not everybody's going to rush out and sell their home because she's advertising on our show. But when you do need it, let her know. Hey, I heard you. And I know when I'm going to need somebody, I'm going to go to you first, right? John with the Black Sheep Plumbing. Hey, everybody needs plumbing stuff around their house. When you do, said, let him know. The Bramwell Mackay, they know you're not going to be like just tearing down bricks so they can come out and fix something. But all of these things, you guys have been just so awesome, and keep that up because that helps keep these people in the fold. John from Vince Abbey was like, man, you guys have been great. Like he's all these people he's been to, more people he's going to. That's awesome. That's what we need. So thank you guys for doing that.
All right, let's get to it. C. Mills on the chat today. What's everybody doing while they're watching the Rob Kendall Show? I'm just out here trucking it up around Indy.
I love that. Some guy out there in his truck. He's got it blaring, the Rob Kendall Show. What a happy life he's living.
Quiet Supernova. Good morning on this fine Tuesday. Open windows, turned up the Rob Kendall Show for the masses.
There you go. Thank you.
Blasted out
Let
those
your neighbors
windows.
hear it.
Kevin Branham about 90 minutes ago.
Here we go.
Impeccable timing. 90 minutes ago would have been 10 o'clock, and that's when the show started. Don't forget Jason's segment in about 90 minutes.
Yes, thank you.
That was 90 minutes ago. Bradley Scheidler, a new one. I've never been excited to vote for anyone in Indiana state politics. I think that sums it up for most of us, Bradley.
Yeah.
Q Finch. I would rather deal with the stupid social problems than to send our kids to die in a war. This would have been referring to
well, yeah, but
earlier.
Okay, wait. Let's back up to this because they're talking about. I did this probably relates. If not, somebody tell me.
Yeah, we never know really.
The Carmel basically turned into a Carmel Democrat pep rally last night about ICE, and I said the problem with the Democrats is they keep snatching defeat from the jaws of victory by taking high-profile positions that are completely outside of the mainstream that the public recoils on and goes, okay, I know the Republicans are bad, but can't deal with this. Now, if you want to say Trump with Iran is bad, but let's not act like Biden was some,
how many kids have died in Iran during this little excursion versus how many people have died, how many American citizens have died at the hands of the Iranians over the decades.
Yeah, so look, let's not act like the Democrats are some peacekeepers. Like Obama was bombing everybody too. Biden was bombing people. We fully funded the death of how many people with the Ukrainian stuff, which again, you can make the case whatever you want, that it's a worthwhile cause, not a worthwhile cause. But let's not act like the Democrats are some, they're putting flowers in high-powered rifles over there. Give me a freaking break.
And it is a voluntary military
That is
service.
correct.
However, Q Finch, you do have the right to voice your opinion here on the Rob Kendall Show, and that's why we read it. Jack the Libertarian, Rob forgot we are a melting pot. I think you're getting some slings and arrows today.
Yeah, well, unlike some other places, we welcome those. We're a melting pot. I'm guessing this is in regards to the immigration thing.
Right.
Of people who come here legally and assimilate. Assimilation is the key. There are certain things that bind us together.
Like having a Social Security card to open a bank account, or after you open the account and they freeze your account saying you need the Social Security card, even though you're an American citizen. Something like that is what you're talking about?
Producer Jason had a rough day yesterday.
Yes,
anyway, but the point is there are basic things. I don't expect people to live the life I live or have the customs that I do or worship the same way I do. I'm not expecting that. What I'm expecting is basic things like if you're going to come to this country, you're going to adapt and assimilate into the basic things that bind us together, like speaking the language, like working, like going to work and paying your own bills. Like we're not living 10 families to a house, like those basic things.
And you don't just get to disappear into the country.
That's right.
I mean, you need to be accounted and accountable. However, Drain the Swamp counters with Rob hasn't forgotten anything.
That's right.
There we go. Little
sharp as a tack.
There we go. Yes, that's Rob. Vic Ferrari, why can't you just be a good citizen of society, Robert? Not sure where he's going there. Vic also added, oh, no, that was already read that. Ethan Hatcher in the chat, once again, you aren't a very good citizen if you don't follow the rules to move here and be a part of our country.
So let's think about that.
Good job, Ethan.
I mean, essentially, these illegal immigrants, and Ethan will appreciate this because he's a landlord, they're squatters. They break, like somebody just came into Ethan's one of his apartments or houses that he rents out, and they didn't pay rent. They didn't sign a lease. They didn't apply by the rules. They're just like, I'm here. Yeah, but you got to get out because I'm trying to give this to somebody who wanted to follow the rules. Nope, now you got to send me to a judge. You got to this. You got to. but you never should have been here. Like, you broke in here. You broke the law. That's what these illegal aliens, or illegal immigrants, whatever you can call them, what they are is they're squatters. They broke the rules. They broke the law. They shouldn't be here. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to be sympathetic about sending them back where they came from.
Vic Ferrari adds to Ethan's comment, true that, Ethan. Should be true dat, but he said true that. Mad Duck, if you act like an animal, you'll be treated accordingly. That would have been what you were talking about with the 16-year-old girl saying that the illegals were being treated like animals.
Right.
Let's see. Steve Green with an E. Children have no agency, and giving it to them to protect or to protest is foolish.
Yeah, I mean, those. Now, look, I don't know what the rules are in terms of.
You can have an opinion as a 16-year-old,
sure.
But to put her up there like she knows what she's talking about.
Well, in fairness, I don't know if they just interviewed her and she was there. I assume they sought her out. I mean, she made herself known, right? Like, they wouldn't just maybe it was. I don't know. But the fact is, like, those schools should not have let those kids leave to go walk around about ICE, right? Or there has to be some punishment. I mean, you can't.
Would they let them have a MAGA rally?
Well, but they shouldn't be leaving for that either.
No, they shouldn't.
You should be at school to learn,
right.
And there should be punishment if you leave the building. Like, how many of these kids got punished for leaving the building?
Right. And Jack the Libertarian, Rob, you should do a live show at the park on the Circle.
At the park on the Circle?
There's no park on the Circle, but maybe he's talking about the little green space there around the monument. You know, they have 4 little quads.
Oh.
Did they take the grass all out?
I don't know. I'm not there.
We used to be able to overlook.
I'm not there
the
anymore.
Old station, but
yeah,
then
the Circle kind of gave up on the Circle after they let it get defaced during the mostly peaceful riots.
Right.
Remember how long it
used
took
to be fun to walk around.
Oh, it used to be a blast.
Walk around downtown. Now you've got to watch.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you've got to watch.
I would never do this now. I can remember, and 10 years ago is not that long ago. 11 years ago, it was before Hogsett was mayor. Walking from Mass Ave back to downtown at 3 a.m. and not thinking a thing about it. Now, I would never do that.
Well, I used to live at the Riley Towers, as you remember, Rob, when you were a youngster. And it was nothing to walk from downtown Indianapolis to the Riley Towers. And I would sit out on the balcony and have an adult beverage about 3 a.m. and just watch. And there would not be a soul moving in that town. It was so peaceful and safe.
Yep.
Now there's no way that you can walk a couple blocks without really having to worry about it, even in the daylight. And I'm not overreacting on that. Smog Samich, Miss Samich says, Micah's life is the messiest thing. Ethan Hatcher, to heck with Beckwith.
Oh. Now, we were talking earlier about Craig Haggard, who's running for Congress, posing for a photo with Micah Beckwith after he had been outraged over the alleged sharing of AI porn of his wife in Micah's office, and the person who, by the way, again, and don't mind saying her name because she outed herself, Erin Sheridan, exemplary career in government, a person who I've known for years who has never lied to me about anything, and told this story in great detail, and it's my understanding, because I think she said this, she told this to the authorities. The amount of trouble this woman would be in if it was proven that she lied. Like, why would she make that up? Like, has nobody ever asked Micah this question? Like, why would she make this up? And I know, and I've said this before, she told me about this when she was still working in the office. Their excuse was always, well, she just said this because she got fired. No, she told numerous people about this before, when she was still employed in the office. And if you were going to make up something to try to take somebody down, like, what sort of twisted mind would you have to concoct that? So if she's lying, she's in way bigger trouble. And by the way, nobody sued anybody.
Right. No. Well, again, like, she's just going to make up that story. I mean, that's just, of all the things she could have made up. Well, he said this, they said that, she said this. I saw a video of a topless woman, and it was the Craig Haggard's wife, and I mean, you got to have a heck of a imagination just to make that up.
I've known Erin Sheridan for 13 years. I've never caught her lying to me. And by the way, Erin and I share political views I don't agree with. She has a lot of views I don't agree with. But I've never met a more honest, decent person. In all the years I've known Erin, I've never caught her lying to me. How many lies have we caught Micah telling publicly? If you ask me who I'm going to believe in this, I would say that my gut instinct is to believe Aaron. But my point in all of this is Craig Haggard, the thing they were referencing, espouses this outrage as you would if you believed someone had potentially created artificial intelligence pornography of your wife and was sharing it in a government office. And she tells the story of, hey, I guess that's what she had told to the authorities, that these guys said Micah knew about it. And then Craig Haggard's posing with the guy. What does that tell you about Craig Haggard?
Not everybody has a problem with people seeing their wife's tatas.
Well, if he thinks it happened, somebody should ask Craig Haggard.
Some people film that on their own and give it to their children.
Who
end up getting arrested and put.
So everybody should be asking Craig Haggard, running for Congress now, does he still believe that AI porn was created and shared of his wife in Micah's office? And if the answer is no, okay, why not? And if the answer is yes, then why'd you pose for the photo with Micah Beckwith? Mm-hmm. I can tell you if somebody did that to my wife and I saw him, wouldn't be posing for a picture with him.
Young Kim. Hi, Rob. Great show yesterday. Thank you for speaking the truth.
Yeah.
He'll try to.
I know Kim very well.
Try to do that today as well.
She's awesome.
All right. Ethan Hatcher once again. Ethan's all over it. I wish Rob Kendall would just go ahead and curse on his show. Take advantage of the format.
Does YouTube punish you for cursing?
Ricla Follett.
Who?
Ricla, RICLA.
Yeah.
FOLLETT. Rick LaFollette.
There you go.
There we go. Something like that. I disagree with you, Ethan. No profanity is much more professional. And Drain the Swamp adds, LOL, Ethan. It would feel more like an adult conversation, but this isn't for children anyway.
I don't know if I gain anything by swearing.
I don't think you should.
Yeah, I run that because eventually, maybe this show may end up on other platforms, and we don't know what sort of rules they're going to have. What they're bound by potentially.
Right. And if you're known for F-bombs, and all of a sudden you stop, kind of like McAfee.
That's right.
That was the best part of the show, according to a lot of people. I thought it was a little juvenile, but then, of course, when he got on TV, he couldn't do it. And it's like, now what do you got?
Right.
You actually have to, have content.
And there's all sorts of, we can't go into exactly what, but there's all sorts of people looking at us right now and thinking, do we want to help promote these people? Do we want to be a part of disseminating their message? So we want to keep it professional. We want to keep it something that any other media outlet, whether they're terrestrial or otherwise, would be happy to be a part of with us.
Now, would it be more entertaining? Probably. If you dropped a couple F-bombs and this and that, it probably would be, but it's just not necessary. Right. So, Ms. Sandwich, anybody coming to the data center protest tomorrow at the city-county building?
Oh, there's a protest. How about that?
There's a protest brewing tomorrow.
Yeah, very good.
And let's see, some folks are asking about it. What time's it start? Noon. So, therefore, you can go after our show, listen to our show on the way.
Noon at the city-county building.
That's what
downtown.
It says.
Okay.
That's what it says.
Data center protest.
All right. Talking about growth. Rick LaFollette. Why does everyone think that growth is good? It just brings more crime, more trash, more wear on the infrastructure that taxes don't compensate for. My Boone County has been raped, in capital letters, by growth.
Okay, so there is, we talked about this a lot, there is good growth. Good growth is something that lessens the burden of every other person. If you have growth, you say these people are coming here, and their coming here is going to lessen the burden collectively that you're forced to pay, I'm okay with most of that growth. Now, it's got to collectively work. You can't just say, well, it's such and such a development that'll lower property taxes, but they're also going to use a bunch of water and sewer, and then it raises your water and sewer bill. Right? All of that stuff has to work together, and it can if elected officials just put the effort into it.
Well, but the money's got to come first, right? So they'll say, well, if we let these new subdivisions in, if we let these new developments in, things like that, that'll be more money into the system. We're going to need new sewers and new roads, and that'll help pay so you will have finer roads and a better sewer system. But by the time they get to the roads and get to that sewer system, it's already under capacity.
That's right.
Or you need a more, and of course it never ends.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, Kevin Branham. Gas tax goes up tomorrow. I noticed the price of gas dropped a little bit today.
Can't have that.
Down to, I think, what was it, like $4.19 yesterday, you had said, and now it's maybe $3.99-ish or what have you, dropping just a hair because they know that tax is coming tomorrow.
And don't forget, July 1st, the gas tax goes up again automatically, the 1 penny for the excise tax on gas.
Steve Green with an E. I just filled my tank before the show.
Yes.
Nice preparation there. We already mentioned Jan Hatch uses Black Sheep Plumbing and the Drain the Swamp's calling them soon. Sponsor of this fine segment.
That's cool that a guy named Drain the Swamp is calling the guy who can drain your drain.
There we go. Dude of Sauce. A new one. Dude of Sauce. Good job, Nikki Kelly.
Yes, Nikki Kelly's wonderful.
All right. Vic Ferrari, we should do our get-together at Nikki Kelly's mansion. I wasn't aware that she was that wealthy. That's awesome.
So for those of you, you can go back and watch the Nikki Kelly interview. We'll have that posted here in a little bit on the videos tab because she's scheduling and whatnot. We had to do the interview via Zoom, and she was at her house, and I made a comment about how nice her house looked on the inside.
All right, you mentioned Speedway. Let's get a couple comments there. Nicholas Kurtz, Speedway is rough. With a couple laughter emojis. LD Stoltz, Speedway has really cleaned up over the past 15 years.
Yes, it has.
Bowden JM. That hotel project just looks so poorly as a reflection of Speedway from out-of-towners. All the locals know what the abandoned project is and are used to seeing it. And Lucas Nataris adds, sounds like a great spot for a data center. So you were, and of course Ethan Hatcher jumped in again and just added, before we talk about that Speedway, producer Jason does the finest segment in all of Indianapolis online podcasting.
Great. Fabulous.
How many other online podcasting platforms are there in Indianapolis? But I'll take it.
Yeah.
Number one of one.
You're number one.
All right, so you had a topic.
So remember, and the reason we do this is you guys have said we love the Rob Kendall origin stories, which I can do now, and I wasn't able to do before.
And I know where all the dead bodies are.
And so every so often we try to throw out these little Easter eggs for you guys about how I sort of became what you have here today. And so Jason and I, many of you know, we had a sports streaming company for many, many years. We were way ahead of the curve on this. It was high school, college, low-level pro sports teams. This is when like streaming in the mid-2000s was like very cutting edge. There was no YouTube. There was no Facebook, wasn't doing it. There barely was a Facebook. All the things that are commonplace now. And this is how we earned a living in the mid-2000s all the way through about 2015 or 16 was the predominant way we earned a living. And when we first started this business, you thought we needed a home office space.
A place to meet on a daily basis.
Right. And then we quickly figured out
phone all the time.
I don't like seeing you that much. And why do we need that?
We had a long relationship of never. That's why it's like a marriage.
Yeah.
It along so great because we were, as I mentioned before, you would be down in North Carolina. I'd be in Indianapolis. We'd swap and rarely in the same room together. But this has literally been the most we've ever been together in our entire 20 years or whatever.
Yeah, ever.
Every day.
But we had an office in the original office we had.
That building's still there.
Is the building still there?
It's a big building. People in Speedway would know it. I'm assuming it's the same building. I rarely ever get to the west side of Indianapolis, but got a drummer friend over there, Adam Baum.
That's his name?
ATOM, Adam Baum. Yeah, and the Baum.
There was also a wrestler who went by the Adam Baum, ATOMBOMB, in the mid-90s. Probably did.
Yeah. So, but I was over there maybe, I don't know, a few months ago or what have you, and I believe the building is still there. It would be on what would that be, the east side of Main Street, the big old huge building, or it used to be like I believe warehousing and trucking, things like that, something like that. But when we went in there, this was way back,
20 years ago
20 years ago. And there was nothing there on Main Street, and this building was completely empty other than maybe one or two other tenants. And they gave us this little bitty office up on the second floor, and we had the run of the entire
Yeah.
And we would just go take furniture from other offices.
That's right.
And we had the best desk, chairs, and about a month was all I could take a Rob. But we weren't in there very long.
You know what I remember? It's weird the things you remember.
Mm-hmm.
The two things I remember about that, we had those e-machine computers.
Oh, you're right.
No,
yeah,
you guys,
probably a 466.
Yeah, you guys, I don't know if you guys remember this. There used to be a computer, and it was called e-machine, and it was like they were cheap computers, but they like far outpaced their price. Like the work,
the stereo mix.
Yeah, they had stereo mix in them, which you needed to record audio. Now it's fairly common now, but and so we had those e-machine computers, and I remember this. It's a weird thing you remember. I remember watching Notre Dame play LSU. This was the Sugar Bowl. It was when Jamarcus Russell. This is the exact time we were there. Jamarcus Russell, before he was the number one pick in the draft, was the quarterback at LSU, and they blitzed Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl, I think it was. And I remember with a little TV set up in there, and you still had the antenna for the TV back then, and
right.
watching that thing, thinking, oh, man, look at me. I'm big time. I got my own office with furniture I heisted from some other room.
I believe one of the reasons we did have to leave there is because the internet was not.
It was horrible.
Even back then, it was when the internet was bad. It was even horrible back then. Let's see.
But that building is still there.
Bo Denham, Jim, whatever. E-machines with an exclamation mark.
Yeah.
And,
if you guys don't remember, I don't even know they make e-machines anymore. They were great. They were the desktop computers. They were awesome.
Somebody was asking, by the way, completely change of topic.
Yeah.
Because that's we beat that one. The Friday, Good Friday, we will be here.
We will be
This
here.
is Good Friday. Somebody asked, will we have a show Good Friday?
Yes, we will.
This is not terrestrial radio. We will be here every day, 5 days a week, except I won't show up for Christmas, and I won't show up for, I assume we're not doing Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
So,
no.
but we'll be here Friday probably after Thanksgiving.
We'll be here.
Right? So, I mean, it's every day, folks. It's we're here. And they asked, and Rob, you might be good to just spend a minute on this. The question was, can we discuss Good Friday's history?
Sure.
For a short time. And you're probably good at this.
Yeah, I'd get into that. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Great job. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I'll bail out on this one.
Yeah,
so.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let me tell you about our friends at Bramwell Mackay. Masonry color mismatch. Previous repair catching your eye. Not happy with the brick color on your home and ready for a total makeover? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry, staining, and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transfer your home's exterior, want to build something new? Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY. Bramwell Mackay, beauty built to endure. And again, I want to thank Black Sheep Plumbing for sponsoring our YouTube segment each day. The reason we do that is because we want you to feel like you're part of a community, you're part of a family, you're a part of, oh my gosh, look over your shoulder. Look who showed up. Oh my gosh, look who it is. Oh my gosh. Speaking of Bramwell Mackay, there's one of the bigwigs over at Bramwell Mackay. Glad we were doing the live read and saying nice things about him. Yes, Mr. McCoy. All right. Hey, we did want to talk about this real quick. U.S. gas prices, coming from the Associated Press, U.S. gas prices jumped to an average of $4 a gallon for the first time since 2022 on Tuesday. According to AAA, the national average for a gallon of regular gasoline is now $4.02, over $1 more than before the war with Iran began. The last time, according to the Associated Press, drivers were collectively paying this much for the price of gas was nearly 4 years ago when Russia invaded Ukraine. So the highest basically you paid in 4 years. Average regular price, average price for a regular gallon of gas, $4.02. So the question again becomes, we're now past 3 weeks. Where's Braun? Where is the governor who on March 9th alluded to if the price of gas doesn't go down and the Strait of Hormuz doesn't open, I'm going to consider suspending the gas tax? We're more than 3 weeks. He put 2.5 to 3 weeks as the time frame. We're now past 3 weeks. What's happening? Why is no one in the Indiana State House calling out Mike Braun, Republicans, demanding you do something about the price of gas, which he can do? We've laid it out. 74 cents, 72 cents of every gallon of gas, which just went up again, is taxes. 18 cents of it is federal, so we'll remove Braun from that. 54 cents of every gallon of gas you buy, or more than that now, 54 plus cents of every gallon of gas you buy in Indiana is Indiana taxes. Why is nobody demanding the governor step up and help us? Why is nobody demanding that the governor of the state of Indiana come up and say, I'm going to do something about this? I'm going to help where I can. And I'm going to, I don't know, maybe just come out and declare, that Mid-States Corridor project was a really crappy idea and it really just benefits my business. So you know what? We're going to take that $4 billion potential expense and we're going to give some of that back to the people. I mean, he's clearly trying to take more from you with the tolling of I-70, but I found $4 billion. And so temporarily we'll take a few $1 million and we'll give it back to the people by suspending the gas tax. What a great idea. People might love him. I know the people of Southwest Indiana would certainly like him much better than they do right now, although, well, Braun's about as popular as mold in Southwest Indiana, so he can only go up. But why are elected officials, the state house reps, the state house senators, the statewide office holders, Daniel Elliott, the state treasurer, Elise Nishala, the comptroller, Diego Morales, man of the people. By the way, did you guys notice, and it never dawned on me until the other day, Brian Howey had an article about this. You guys ever notice how Diego Morales never does interviews or rarely does interviews? It never dawned on me. It's like where he sits down in front of a reporter and actually answers questions. It's always some video or some Lincoln Day dinner or some just highly managed media release. You guys ever notice that? Like, it never dawned on me. You never see him sit down with the Indy Star. If somebody can point me out when the last time that happened, please let me know. The Capitol Chronicle. Rob Kendall. By the way, Diego, you are 100% invited to come on this show. I will give you a whole show. If you want 2 hours, we can just sit here and talk for 2 hours. You guys never notice that Diego never does interviews? Why is that? But where is Diego Morales, man of the people, demanding that Braun suspend the gas tax? Where's Todd Rokita, the attorney general? Fighter, conservative fighter. Why isn't he speaking out on this? Why isn't the lieutenant governor, who literally ran on being a check and balance to the governor, literally that's why he was elected, what does he check or what does he balance on anything? What is he doing? Nobody's holding the governor to account to the words that he used. He volunteered the information, and not a single solitary person is standing up for you. But we will continue to fight. We will continue to ask this question. Why will Braun not follow through on the thing that he floated out as the trial balloon? Do something for Hoosiers and suspend the gas tax. All right, that is going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. We so appreciate you. If you haven't done it yet, please hit the subscribe button, subscribe to our feed, hit that little thumbs up button. Let us know that you're enjoying the show and share the feed. Let people know whether you're watching live or watching on demand, whether you're listening on demand, Apple, Spotify. We can't thank you enough, and we can't thank you, those of you who have been so generous to hit the support button over at robkendallshow.com. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been watching Rob Kendall Show.